All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you're doing well out there, and we will see what comes up. Come on back if you're feeling chipper. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this segment of Black Spring with Autumn. Good afternoon, Melinda. Hope you're doing well out there. Thanks so much for coming back. All right, I have a few lines. I said it's going to keep it limited to two, but we might go two to three today. So I hope you're feeling chipper enough to grab a snack and come on back. If you're not sure, if you're checking us out and you're not quite sure if you're sticking around, I always appreciate the thought. Okay, so we're going to get into a couple of lines. Many of these lines are we're gonna go domestic, and of course, we'll take you all the way. Might take you into some unfamiliar territory. We'll start a little bit more local, and then we'll branch our way out. Hope you're doing well on this hump day, Wednesday, and that you are, yeah, keeping it together out there, keeping things in perspective. All right, I appreciate it. So let's get going here. Before we do, I want to, just for old time's sake, just send a little bit of a thank you out there. And by the way, yes, I will be updating these thank yous because there's going to be a new line of thank yous. For it's going to be more kind of an anniversary, I think, kind of a thank you. And some of my friends here are going to will remain, of course, on that list. And so you know who you are. You guys have been loyal since at least 19 was the infancy of this channel. So I really appreciate you guys each and every time. So I will be revamping the thank yous and the sponsors. All sponsors are honorary sponsors, but it always helps if you think about the channel. All right, so I will be right back with right after this flashback. All right, guys, I thank you so much. And one last, let's give you a little bit of the visual. Let's give you a little bit of the visual code. All right, check your status. All right, guys, thank you so much once again. So let's get into today's today's lines, shall we? I did entitle this stream "Feeling Chipper." I want to say hello really quickly to my friends that are out there right now. Melinda, thank you so much. Luciano, Independent Mini, so nice to have you back. And yes, and I will very much will be updating the thank you and all the. I'll be updating the commercials, so not to worry. I may even put in a little bit of time today to get it done before the next one. So yes, it's. But I want to thank you guys. Many of you have been hanging around since at least since 2019. So 2019, 2019. Dare I say maybe I go back to 2018. Um, Somewhere between 2018 and 2019. So you guys have been riding with me all this time, and you are not forgotten. So let's get going here, shall we? So the first, let's get a little bit to the centerpiece, and I will try. I'm actually going into this myself with you today. So we're going to go into this. Okay, I want to make sure you guys have full screen on this. Also, some things, new things coming out. The studio will be. I will be revamping the studio, the stationary. It's going to be a stationary studio, and with trim and with trim lights and maybe some screens, some larger screens for you. Some mirroring, to say the least. So yeah, excited about that. Also, want to thank my friends over on Twitch. Twitch has been, a driving force. So we're still driving Twitch. We're always having a Twitch drive. Thank you guys on Twitch. And for anybody that's over there right now, thank you. So let's go with this. Let's go with this first liner out of here. Yes, and you are going to be. Thank you so much, Independent Mini. Yes, like I said, if you can think about it, hit the like button. Somebody hit it for me. Somebody may hit it for you. I don't know. Wherever you're, whatever speaks to you. Okay, so let's get going on this, shall we? And I will be probably putting the pendulum out. So I think we're going to go 2 to 3 on these lines. And I thank you guys for riding with me today. All right, so this is coming out of mynbc15.com. All right, as you can see, these are the graphics that were provided here. Companies microchipping employees and the Alabama reps trying to fight it. So on this segment, I may speak to something on a spiritual level. Who knows? Who knows? Anything can happen here, but we always want to support each other. We always want to fortify each other, and we tend to do that around here. We try to offer not just news, but a little bit of coping, things to kind of keep us strong and bring us back where necessary. Okay, sorry about the interruption there. Okay, so we're going to go here. Thanks so much once again for tuning in. So let's have a look here. All right, so this looks like it's we have a Wisconsin company that plans to test out a new microchip implant on its employees. The microchip will allow them to pay for items and can grant them building access. Okay, so this is their graphic here. This is maybe the the pen name Ashley Knight here. This was actually published on yesterday. But as you might be able to see something that looks like about, dare I say, the grain of rice. It looks like something about the grain of rice, a little bit bigger, whatever it is. I don't care how small it is. It is what it is, and it's not what it's not. Okay. So it says it may soon be a felony for any Alabama employers to require their employees to be microchipped. Believe it or not, it's happening in some companies. It's an emerging trend, companies microchipping their employees. The idea is very tech forward, allowing employees to act as a human key card to open office doors, log into work computers, even purchase things from the vending machine. It can serve as security, ensuring such credentials could never be stolen and used for malicious purposes. Okay. So think about the what I'm going to call it, predictive programming and some of the movies that we've seen, dare I say, Mission Impossible, So let's keep going here. Sorry about that. All right. So 3 Square Market, a tech company based in Wisconsin and popular for self-checkout devices, chipped 100 of their employees in 2017. Two other companies, Epicenter and Biotech, both based in Sweden, have also chipped at least 115 employees and individuals since 2015. A bill that would make it a felony, however, is being introduced by three Alabama state Democrats, Representatives Prince Chestnut, Anthony Daniels, and Kelvin Lawrence. The language would prevent both private and public operations from mandating the devices. The lawmakers say the, quote, ethical and constitutional implication of technology, end quote, must be considered. Right now, such bans currently exist in several states, including Indiana and California. Alabama Representative Chestnut says he is unaware of any businesses currently mandating microchips, but he argues it is lawmakers' jobs to be, quote, presumptive. Okay, so let's see. So yeah, I mean, like, where have we heard this before? Like, just think of it, dare I say, think of the daytime and hour. Just think of the daytime and hour, and the things that we're seeing. I'm sure I have friends in the chat that would love to chime in on that. Okay, so let me just deal with a comment here first, coming out of Melinda, who says chipping the people is all part of the UN agendas. It was in their paperwork in 1991. Melinda says, need to go for a bit, mini emergency. Gotcha. Thanks for coming in for sure. Luciano's here, says, listening to Mike Adams going into detail, always an eye opener. Okay, and Independent Mini has shared something with us. Thank you so much for that. So we're gonna, I'm just thinking, could this be, the question that might be posed, could this be what we think it is? We've seen this, whether it's come from, whether it's in the form of a, whether it's been in the form of a something to swipe in order to purchase something. We heard about this. We kind of started seeing things like this when we're going to visiting stores, where now you need to wave a hand in order to, say, for instance, if you go into a Walgreens, I've seen this in the Walgreens where you go in there and you have to wave your hand across the refrigerator, because now it's all like marketing, like paper, like wallpaper that's on the actual refrigerated section. So if you're looking for ice cream, sodas, they don't even show you the product anymore. They show you the marketing that they've created for that. And you've got to wave your hand in order to just open the refrigerator. You can no longer just open a refrigerator to grab say a Powerade or a Coke or a, I don't know, maybe you might be grabbing, dare I say, Zima. Do they even make Zima anymore? Do they? Hello, T96. Welcome in. So yeah, it's already happening. We saw this during the CV19. I think the CV19 was just it was a testing ground for what's to come, and they're not going to stop. Okay. We've talked about this, including AI and the war against germs. Okay, no, I say the war against germs, I'm referring to CV19, whatever else that's coming up. I've even shown you guys where, what is it? Sophia, the robot with this international, with this world citizenship kind of a pass that, they're showing that she would have an entourage that would be doing physical therapy with senior citizens. So because why? Because robots don't have germs, right? Well, I'm just saying, like we've seen the testing grounds for many things. Okay. And to get there, you have to go through the war against germs. Okay. And then also you have AI. I'm telling you, the service and not customer service-based businesses, whether it's, fast food, pharmacies, all of this has gotten progressively worse. It takes longer to get prescriptions now. A lot of times your supplies are not even there, or you end up finding out that your medications or whatever your therapies are on back order. So we just see that it looks like things are breaking down under a collapse, can I say, a collapse of things. Um, so we're going to keep going here. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to move along to our next liner. And we're going to go into a liner that talks about from Euronews or Euronews. U.S. warns its citizens in Russia to get out immediately over security fears. So you see, a lot of the things that they're going to do, I think it's going to be done under the auspices of safety and security and the CC, the climate, you know what I mean? Safety, security, they're gonna try to get everything under the auspices of that, and a lot of people are going to go right along with it, just like a lot of people went along that they took the fear porn bait to go along with everything else. I don't think it's going to be any different. Okay, so let's go over to the Euronews. Okay, make sure you guys have full screen on here. Always want to make sure we have that. Okay. Make a quick little change here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Sorry about the distraction there. A little bit of a distraction there. So there we go. Much better. Okay. All right. So here we are with Euronews.com. All right. So this is by Euronews with Reuters. Okay. Apparently this was released yesterday. Okay. So the United States has told its citizens to leave Russia immediately due to the war in Ukraine and the risk of arbitrary arrest or harassment by Russian law enforcement agencies. Quote, the U.S. citizens residing or traveling in Russia should depart immediately, the American embassy in Moscow said. Quote, exercise increased caution due to the risk of wrongful detentions, end quote. Quote, do not travel to Russia, end quote, the statement added. The United States has repeatedly warned its citizens to leave Russia. The last such public warning was in September after President Vladimir Putin ordered a partial mobilization. Quote, Russian security services have arrested U.S. citizens on spurious charges, singled out U.S. citizens in Russia for detention and harassment, denied them fair and transparent treatment, and convicted them in secret trials without presenting credible evidence, end quote, the embassy said. Quote, Russian authorities arbitrarily enforce local laws against U.S. citizens, religious workers, and have opened questionable criminal investigations against U.S. citizens engaged in religious activity. Russia has opened a criminal case against a United States citizen on suspicion of espionage, the Federal Security Service, FSB, said in January. U.S. prisoners in Russian jails. The most well-known American held in a Russian prisoner was basketball star Brittany Griner. She was returned to the United States in December in a prisoner exchange with Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, nearly 10 months after being arrested. Griner's status as an openly gay Black woman, her prominence in women's basketball, and her imprisonment in a country where authorities have been hostile to the LGBTQ community heightened concerns for her and brought tremendous attention to the case. Meanwhile, another American remains in jail in Russia as he was not a part of December's prisoner exchange. Paul Whelan is a former U.S. Marine who was arrested on suspicion of spying in Moscow in 2018 and sentenced to 16 years in prison. U.S. President Joe Biden has said his government will, quote, never give up, end quote, on trying to secure Whelan's release. Okay, so you can kind of see, I tell you, our foreign presence is looking quite, dare I say, a little bit anemic. Let me put it like that. Okay. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see who's here. T96 is here. Okay. T96 comes in with a hot China declaring war in U.S. while Wuhan, trying to yeah, you see, the vulnerabilities are real. I see, he says too much BS going on. And he also comes in when they say peace and security, sudden destruction falls. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. So we'll probably look at another liner or so. So those were relatively brief. I wasn't making this a news brief, but she's like all the signs kind of point back to like, it's like we're crumbling. We're crumbling here. We're crumbling from within here. But then it's like with everything else going around, with everything else surrounding us, it's almost like, you know, it's like a dome. The world dome is also pressurizing. We're being pressurized from, you know, from around the world, and provocation. A lot of these events that are going on, like I said before, who knows? Is it real or showbiz? Is it an illusion or a paradox? I don't know. There's some truth, right? Maybe there's some truth there. Maybe a little deception. Okay. So let's have another look here. I'm going to take a short little break and we'll be right back with our next line. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Thanks so much for coming in. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And yes, we're going to get into a couple of, we find ourselves at an international, speaking about international events and just invasions. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm going to put the pendulum out here just to see if anybody wants to chime in on any of this, which I have another piece. And I didn't get into it yesterday, but it comes in from the New York Post. Let's go with that one. I think I'd be remiss not to do that one. So let's go to the New York Post regarding the border. How about that? I've made a mention of this before about how things can be regarded as, a little bit elusive. But I want to bring you into this. Okay. I'll give you full screen on this one. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So, according to the New York Post, the number of Le Chinois migrants or Chinese migrants caught at southern border skyrockets over 700%. Now, this came out on the 10th. Okay. This came out on February the 10th. And it looks like the penman, Catherine Donlevy. Okay, let's go there. I don't know if you guys have noticed that if your population is not increased already, like just around town, like in an armpit town, you're going to see, like when you see something that, of course, dare I say, of foreigners, you will, it's real, right? So let's go with this. The number of Chinese migrants illegally crossing into the U.S. during the last 3 months of 2022 skyrocketed by over 700% compared to the same period a year earlier, data shows. The Customs and Border Protection apprehended 1,862 Chinese nationals trying to cross the U.S.-Mexican border during the last quarter of 2022, according to numbers provided by Customs and Border Protection. Just 229 migrants were seized from the southern border during those same months in 2021. The amount of illegal Chinese migrants encountered by the CBP has been steadily increasing every month since February 2021, according to federal data. The number of Chinese nationals illegally crossing into the U.S. this fiscal year, which kicked off in October, is set to eclipse the total number caught in the entirety of 2022. Okay, so it looks like we've got some footage here. I mean, seriously, dare I say, are we talking about the LWO? I want to hear from you guys, so I will be putting the pendulum out. So I will make sure that I do just that. Sorry about the background noise. Okay, so I'll keep going here. So as you can see, I mean, it's almost like I'm not sure what we're doing with the Customs and Border Patrol. It's almost like are they caregivers or are they guardians of the, you know what I mean? Is it the welcome committee down there? I'm just saying, what exactly is going on here? Okay, so you can see also the footage here. This one says the Chinese migrant that crossed the Rio Grande into Texas is detained by a Border Patrol K9 unit on September 10th, 2019. So it looks like they're taking you back in time a little bit. All right, so Border Patrol agents talk with an undocumented, see, here we go, look at the language, undocumented migrant from China on September 10th, 2019. Only 1,970 illegal migrants from the People's Republic of China were caught at the southern border by CBP throughout the entire 2022 fiscal year, agency data shows. Most of those caught are single adults. At least 15 nationals in their 20s through their 50s were in custody at the DHS's Rio Grande Valley sector Wednesday, Fox reported. 3 Chinese migrants who each paid smugglers $35K, my friends, were caught in Texas last week. Just a second. So let me just keep going here. Sorry. I'm doing a little control here. Okay, so a source from the Department of Homeland Security told Fox News that Chinese nationals are typically processed for expedited removal unless they have a credible fear of persecution if returned to China. Those seeking asylum are released into the U.S. on their own recognizance and with a notice to appear for a court date for their immigration hearings. Since President Biden took office in January 2021, a record number of illegal migrants have poured into the U.S. The DHS is keeping an eye out for potential spies, the source told Fox, especially after the State Department shot down a Le Chinois balloon believed to be surveilling the U.S. I mean, come on. I would love to hear from somebody in our stream right now. Somebody chime in, please. We welcome that. We want to hear that. We're all for it. What I'm going to do is put the link out. If you are new to the stream, please announce yourself. If you are, announce who you are, at least in your avatar, just as an extra measure. Because of course, this is a people's pendulum here on Black Spring, and it's an expression. It's a point of expression. It's a form of expression, but we like to have everybody identify themselves just for friendly, just to be aware of where we are, who we are. Okay. All right. So yes, if you are interested in chiming in, you may do so. But do you guys not find that it feels like it just seems like that something is closing in. There's something that we're getting closer to our adversary somehow. With the softer we are, the closer we are to, I think, adversaries. Our world is contracted, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you want to say it's through technocracy, whatever, but it's certainly our security is to me diminished. But it's like our world has contracted, and we are closer to. I think we're making us closer to danger, or we're not to less security. We are less secure. We are being gaslit on a regular basis. Nothing to see here, right? And that's, to me, they're not even covering the border. Okay, what's going on a domestic level? That's not being covered. So yes, it's certainly not being covered. So if you're interested, yes, there is a pendulum out right now. T96 coming in with a device. Here we go. T96 comes in with WW3 will be in American soil and divide America. will fall. There's a reason America is not in Battle of Armageddon. Okay, and T96 also comes in with divided falls. Divided it falls is what he says. Yeah, I've got a feeling that we're definitely I don't know, like, because with the influx before at the southern border, it was all, it was more of the SA countries, or the triangle, or the northern triangle countries. But now we've got a different type of invasion. So I don't know. Where do you stand? It's like we're importing the conflict. The conflict has been imported, or the soldiers have been imported. What is it? These guys, what do they quote? These people are from age 20 to age 50, right? And then in the past, we've seen all these men, like what have we had? Like we've had Afghan migrants. Every migrant from over the other illegal from under the sun has come here since 21. I mean, and nobody's really saying anything about it. It's not being reported on. It's just a point of gaslighting is what it becomes. Okay. That's what it comes down to. So I'm going to take a quick little break and come right back. So yes, I will be updating our thanks and our Twitch friends. All right, my friends, thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and take you to this. We're going to have this as our last liner for today. Thank you guys so much for coming in. All right. Hope you're doing well out there, and that you are surviving, you are thriving, and you are, thriving and doing better than surviving out there. Okay, so let's go to this. This is coming out of newsweek.com. Hope you can see this. So let me know if you guys have any issues with that. Okay. All right. Let's go. All right. So according to this looks like an opinion piece. A balloon intrusion shows China's regime is planning for war. Okay. This is written by the penman, Gordon G. Chang, author, commentator. Okay. All right. Hopefully this doesn't come roaring out. All right. So the flight of a Chinese spy balloon directly over some of the most sensitive American military sites this month suggests China is planning to wage war soon. On January 28th, a large balloon launched by China flew into the U.S. Air Defense Identification Zone north of the Aleutians. It then traveled through Alaska and Western Canada. The balloon, carrying what appeared to be surveillance equipment, crossed into Idaho on January 31st. The Foreign Air Force F-22 shot it down on Saturday afternoon off the South Carolina coast. The maneuverable balloon surveilled, among other facilities, Maelstrom, F.E. Warren, and Minot Air Force bases. Minot Air Force bases, I presume, which house Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, the balloon also passed close to Whiteman Air Force Base, home to the nuclear-capable B-2 bomber fleet, and Offutt Air Force Base, the headquarters of Strategic Command, which controls U.S. nuclear weapons. This pass suggests China is gathering intelligence for either a first or a second strike on America's nukes. Whatever China is planning, the violation of American territorial airspace was blatant and reveals the dangerous mentality of the Chinese leadership. There are several alternative explanations for why Beijing engaged in such a brazen act. It is possible that Chinese military has become so politically powerful inside the Communist Party that it could launch this balloon without consulting others. A more likely possibility is that China's leader decided this was the time for China to make its move. Xi Jinping seeks to affirm his warped vision that the United States is weak and indecisive power in decline that will be crushed by an ascendant triumphant China under his leadership. Charles Burton of the Ottawa-based Macdonald-Laurier Institute told Newsweek that U.S. citizens could look up into the sky and see China's spy balloon looking down on them may have been gratifying to Xi and his cohorts. Jonathan Bass, a China expert at InfraGlobal Partners, tells this publication that the provocative balloon flight occurred at the same time that the Beijing adopted a more assertive and counterproductive posture in Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Quote, I think Xi Jinping has just told all of China's diplomats everywhere that now is the time for them to move against America, he said. Why at this time? For one thing, Xi is being criticized for domestic policy disasters and so may be seeking wins to change the conversation in Beijing. He has no one else to blame, so he needs to distract his adversaries in senior Communist Party circles. Many are worried. Take General Mike Minihan, the chief of Air Force's Air Mobility Command, predicted in a memorandum to his command leaked January 27th that America would be in war with China in 2025. Quote, while General Minihan's assessment of 2025 is in the ballpark for public U.S. government source estimates, the more stark reality is that the People's Liberation Army will have a relative superiority over U.S. forces in East Asia for another 2 to 3 years. So Xi Jinping could decide to start his war almost any time, said Richard Fisher of the Virginia-based International Assessment and Strategy Center to Newsweek. Okay, so we'll keep going here. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Mike Gilday, the U.S. Navy's top officer, warned on October 19th that China could go to war at any moment. China, for the last 3 years, has been continually propagating the notion that the U.S. is finished as a great power. Quote, the East is rising and the West is declining, could be Xi Jinping's favorite sentence. This theme was evident in March 2021 when Yang Jiechi, China's top diplomat, publicly lectured Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan. Quote, so let me say here that in front of the Chinese side, the United States does not have the qualification to say that it wants to speak to China from a position of strength. Yang said in blistering opening remarks at the now infamous confrontation in Anchorage. Since then, Chinese propaganda has hammered the America is done message, something especially evident during Biden's catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. Unfortunately, Biden looks like he has just handed Xi Jinping a win. The American president did not stop the balloon from surveilling sensitive sites, making the U.S. look incapable of defending its own airspace. Moreover, the Chinese military got an invaluable peek at how its American counterpart would react to an intrusion during wartime. Then on Monday, Biden, in response to a question from reporters, said the incident would not, quote, weaken, end quote, ties between China and America, thus signaling that the Chinese regime would pay no price for the balloon surveillance. Blinken did, quote, postpone, end quote, his trip to Beijing, which was originally scheduled for the 5th and 6th of this month, but he made it clear he wanted to reschedule. As Bloomberg News reported, quote, U.S. officials were confident both countries would find a good reason to put the whole thing behind them, end quote. Biden himself rushed to the balloon incident in the rearview mirror. He heard over China in his State of the Union address and made only an indirect reference to the stunning event. Xi Jinping has been preparing China for war, especially during the past 2 years. At the Communist Party's 20th National Congress in October, Xi appointed his, quote, war cabinet. He is sponsoring the fastest military buildup since the Second World War. He is trying to sanctions-proof his regime, and he is mobilizing China's civilians for battle. has China's ambitious leader finally found the moment to pull the trigger. His utter disrespect for the U.S., evinced by the balloon intrusion, suggests he is, in fact, not deterred by America. She looks like he will seize the moment, end quote. Bass says, quote, why do I wake up each morning and think it's December 6th, 1941? All right, my friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, so we got some comments coming in here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And T96 comes in with a hot, oh yeah, China is coming in from all directions. They're in Canada right now near our coast, yet news ain't covering that. They even buying land in the CCP is. Okay, so for instance, I know that California has at least one port, and I think they own they've bought real estate there. I think they own one of the ports. I'm not sure which one it is, but I do know that a lot of I think the Hotel Del is. I think the Hotel Del in Coronado is also owned by them. I think that's the country's oldest hotel, or what? Not the oldest hotel, but I think it's there's a lot of historical significance to that particular hotel. So, but nothing to see here, folks. Right? All right. Let's see. T-96 says China ships getting near American naval ships. Jets flying that balloon was last seen in World War I and World War II. So yeah, there's definitely, I don't know how much more is, what it's going to take, honestly. I really don't know. And Melinda is back. Just get it started, get it sorted. She says, whoops, spoke too soon. All right, guys, well, I just wanted to bring in these stories. We go all the way. We found ourselves from Alabama to, we found ourselves from Alabama to, different parts of South Carolina, the coast of South Carolina, traveling through Alaska, Western Canada. I mean, but hey, nothing's going on, right? But I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, and I did indeed put that pendulum out for you. Oh my gosh, it's Zero the Infinite. Oh, you did. Congratulations. Zero the Infinite says, I managed to get my channel back. Took YouTube long enough. You're the first channel I'm chatting in. Well, thank you so much. We are honored to be your, the reunion is real. Welcome back. Welcome back, Zero the Infinite. So, we are going to be I'm going to be revamping some of our commercials, and we'll be putting our honorary viewers like yourself, etc. So we appreciate you. We're so glad you're back. So let us know what you're doing. Feel free to drop your information in there to, just for refresh. We appreciate you. I did put a link out there. I don't know if you have the time or if you're interested, but I did put a link out. We've been talking about a Wisconsin-based company offering, microchips for employees. We've been talking about a surge at the border from our Le Chinois friends. It's up 700%, I guess, from a year ago. Nothing to see there. We also had a look at what's anticipated. That we anticipate, well, some of the I guess the DOD, our forces, our armed forces, or our air defense officials are concerned about the Chinese spy balloon. And what else did we get on about here? We got on about an actual. Let's see. I think that was about it. We got on. We also had a liner on the U.S. citizens being warned to basically get out of Russia. Okay, so that's where we've been today, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Trying to get back in here, but yeah, everything's for sale, right? Everything's for sale. So I appreciate you guys so much, and my friends over on Twitch. And so as I said before, you can hit the like button. Somebody hit it for me. Somebody might hit it for you. and we can keep the fight going that way. So I do have a hello. It's Independent Mini United. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to bring you those a few stories there. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So I'm hopefully maybe next month. I'm thinking next month I'll have the studio up and running. Like our stationary studio will be up and running. We'll at least have a we'll have yeah we'll be set. We'll be in a different space, and yeah, that's how it's going to be. Thank you guys so much. So I'm going to be revamping some things here also on the thank you. So let me run a commercial for old time's sake. And if you guys don't have anything, we will get you out of here and get you going on the rest of your hump day. I'll be right back. Right, we're back, and look who's at the door. Hi, Zero.
Hey Autumn, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you? Thanks so much for coming in. What's on your mind?
I guess I'll chime in about the microchip thing, even though I just kind of heard what you kind of just told me like a few minutes ago about, about the company. You said it's in Milwaukee, right?
Yes, it's a company out of Wisconsin. I don't. We'll pull it up right here. It's a
Okay.
company out of Wisconsin. That's microchipping employees, and it looks like some Alabama reps are trying to fight it. So I'll go ahead and share that with you. Um, so yeah, I'll pull that up for us right now.
Okay.
I don't mind going back into that because I'm wondering if it's because I'm here. Of course, other countries have already, it's kind of an active thing. Some people started shopping with this type of technology. I think
Yeah.
at some point early on, or dare I
Yeah, I
say, can
think
I call it the first quarter of the CV-19? People started experimenting with things like this. So go for it.
yeah. Yeah, I think I heard India was like probably like the first one to use it, I think.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, see, according to this is a Three Square Market is a tech company based in Wisconsin and popular for self-checkout devices. Chipped 100 of their employees in 2017, and then there were two other tech companies, Epicenter and Biotech, both based in Sweden, have also chipped at least 150 employees and individuals since 2015. So it looks like there's some Alabama lawmakers that are trying to make this a felony, introduce this bill that would make it a felony. Um, so yeah, they're saying the lawmakers say that quote the ethical and constitutional implications of technology must be considered. So that's yeah, just one more thing, right?
Yeah, and I mean I know it's like when I guess like when the government, the elites or whoever they supposed to be, whatever they want nowadays, when they want people to do something, they don't do it through the old fear tactics anymore. They get the people to join in on it. So like really they don't really have to do too much at all. All they do is the people present it to the people in the way they like it, and then they roll with it, and they're the ones, the people are the ones promoting it, not so much the company.
Right. Well, I remember back during the beginning of the CV-19, even when, people were having, if you were to have a
Yeah,
visitor at home, Mayor Garcetti of LA said, snitches get rewards. So, they're doing, I
yeah,
said, to me, this is a communist tactic. It happened like
yeah,
1930s, and, which they made you were made to, your neighbors were a part of the compliance. You know what I mean? The force, the coercion. Let's see, not compliance. We'll call it the coercion.
yeah.
Coercion people.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like mass. Like, I mean, they didn't have to even really even make people wearing masks because people were already doing it before they even made it mandatory.
Yes, and see, that's exactly, they don't see that. See, this is what I'm saying. This is all. It's historically apropos because we watched this in this channel. We've looked at, was it 10 lessons on tyranny, and it's talked about, even the Germans. They practically, they just, the people volunteered to do things. The people were already doing things to help them, kind of cull or kind of, round up people
Yeah,
when they're taking over. When the takeover happens, the people will participate. The voluntary compliance comes from the people. It's not so much. You're absolutely right. Keep going.
yeah. Because that was just like what I noticed, like especially during the whole lockdown thing. It was just like everything the gun was passing, like people were already doing it before they even had to say a word about it. And I was just like, wow, that's I'm like, I mean, that's what I'm like kind of saying. Like, yeah, these are, yeah, that kind of following the crowd, and like, of course, the government was purposely taking out information because I remember when I see the CDC site there that they had said that like if you wear a mask all the time, you could get sick. And I remember going back and looking at it a few months later because I was doing stream talking about it and it was gone. They took it away. And I was like, wow, like it took a lot of important information. I mean, even like the stuff they were trying to tell people to do to be safe, like stay 6 feet away. I'm like, 6 feet isn't enough to stop someone if they just sneeze or cover their mouth or something like that. It's really the actual distance, like people would have thought it was ridiculous to do that, but that would have been the actual distance. I think it was like 32, 33 feet minimum to like just avoid someone like sneezing or coughing in your direction, like how far it would go.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
I'm
of course,
definitely.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, we just keep showing people what's possible.
Yeah.
What was a couple of quotes? Yeah, you can keep going. Sorry about that.
Are you fine? Yeah. I mean, just like other things, like people thought cotton masks or protect them. If you're wearing a cotton mask, you might as well just not even wear one because it's I mean, it doesn't actually protect you from anything. I mean, matter of fact, you might as well just not be wearing a mask. You wear a cotton mask, and then you have the medical mask supposed to get 70% everything, but stuff will still get through. Which like does still get through. Which I wore one while I was doing work, but it wasn't nothing like with the virus. It was like because a lot of dust and even dust still got through like a lot of the mask and I guess like KN95 it kind of works to a certain extent, but the one that really works was like the N95 respirator mask. Those were like real good. Like don't none come in or out. Like you that are like the half mask, but the half mask you need to take a fit test for that.
Yeah, well, I honestly, at this point, I mean, to me, that particular issue became one of the most exhausting. People were
Yeah,
fatigued over the whole,
yeah,
I think it is your, I think your individual susceptibility is the biggest, what you know
yeah,
about your own body is what's, to me, going to serve you
right.
on some level, but a lot of people just kind of just went with the porn, and they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Um, yeah, I mean, even it's just I don't know. I mean, I just we're just in a lull, and I think people need to wake. People need to. I think the time for waking up is done at this point. It's only going to be a certain amount of people um, that are going to be aware of what's going on, and that's it. Just as people say in the days, no, there's only going to be so many people. If everybody's not going to go is not going to go in the same direction. So we just have to be you have to be prepared for that too.
Yeah, I mean, like when people will say, "Well, I don't know why I don't want to wake up." It's like the reason for that is because if they wake up and know the truth, that comes with responsibility, and whether or not you're ready for that responsibility or not is up to the person. It's just like a cipher from the Matrix. He was awoke. He knew what was going on, but he didn't like what he was saying. He wanted to go back to sleep. He didn't want to remember, the truth about the Matrix or nothing. He just wanted to go back to sleep, and he was willing to betray everyone to do it. And I mean, I think you probably have people like those too, but most people don't. Most people don't want to wake up. It's not because like they can or they don't want to. It's like they willfully don't want to. They don't want to look at anything beyond what they have, and because I mean, of course, people want to be comfortable. Most people want to be comfortable. So the fact that they don't want to know the truth is so that there's no responsibility or accountability for
Right.
their own actions. You can just
Right.
blame somebody else if things go wrong.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was the direction similar to direction I was going in. It's like once you learn something, you will change the behavior, or you will be that'll make you accountable. Then you have to look within. Then you'll be more compelled to do something if you pay attention to what's actually going on. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's definitely a rough time. It's a rough time, and I think that there's a lot of apathy. Um, that's just something from Dennis Prager that I quoted a while back. It's at the beginning of the CV-19. It says watching. This is from Dennis Prager. He talked about the 1933 Nazis parallel. That watching America accept the rationally and morally indefensible physical and economic lockdown of the country, quote, apathy in the face of tyranny turns out not to be a German or Russian characteristic. He says, I just never thought it could happen in America. So I think that that's exactly where is that this subversion. There's a lot of subversion that's happened, and I think it got worse the last couple of years. They did a heck of a job. Um, yeah, that Yuri Bezmenov, or Bezmenov. I think that guy had it down, and we are, yeah, our neighbors are that. Those are the participatory obedience will come directly from your neighbor. It'll come from the person at the grocery store. It'll come from somebody that you're standing next to. It's gonna come that way.
yeah. I mean, and you know what? Like Stan Lee actually kind of told us like I mean we didn't realize that he was actually trying to tell us. We thought it was just he did entertainment. Like when he started speaking about Hydra, like how it started in World War II. You know how they really got their own base and all that. And then after that, they just after the World War II was done, Hydra's still around, still moving, and that was like I mean like the symbol of Hydra is actually the symbol of the elites that are there. So like the elites we see now, like would be like where Stanley is referred to Hydra or the actual Nazis. The Cause like think about it was like all his tactics that he learned and everything like that started in America before it even went to Germany. If you trace back the history of his propaganda techniques and all that, I mean even a lot of his a lot of his support getting stuff were from American companies.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what is it? Was it Patton that said we defeated the wrong enemy? I think I think that's true in so many ways, and we're seeing that now. Like I think the tyranny has been borrowed, or the subversion has been borrowed, and it's been done every time there's a shift or something that they want to change. When some drastic change happens, it's a mass. It's done with a mass subversion or some type of disease or some, what I mean, some type of whatever, to either wipe people out. If everybody doesn't wipe out, they're going to try to, you know, squeak you out or bang you out.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, I mean, I mean, with the war, it was, I mean, both sides were fighting the wrong enemy. The enemy was the people that were, controlling the war. Those are the people really in charge. Like, Hitler was just the face of, people you can see, kind of like the president. Somebody, that do as he's told, and will spread their influence, be the mouthpiece, and do what they need to be done, do what they need to be done. So I mean, because like if you were thinking about like a lot of, like the most influential people, most of them are related to each other, either related to each other or they're cool with with those related to that same family.
Oh yeah, it's a small circle. Like I was saying, I think our world has definitely contracted. It's brought us closer to our adversaries, near and far. Uh, yeah, I mean, like I said, your adversary could be right next door. Your
Yeah,
adversary could be, at the border. It's there, and there's nothing being done about it. I just don't know how much longer is this going to last, or dare I say, how rough is it going to get? So I just think we better start hunkering down. But I really appreciate you for coming on, and I was glad that you're able to get back up, and because it's kind of a revamping, kind of a refreshing for myself, getting back on, because I mean I've had some presence, but it can feel beat down out here at times with all the, of course, the censorship is still happening.
yeah,
We're yanking down streams because of the nature of what we're discussing. Of course, people are being, of course, demonetized, which most of us, that are new, we were never a part of that. We were never made partners with the tubes, you know. So
yeah. I think, yeah. I think whenever I get 1K, like you get monetized. I said I don't think I'm getting monetized. I talk too much stuff about YouTube.
there you go. There you go.
But I mean, if they do, I'm like, well, I tell it ain't gonna stop.
No, it won't. Well, give us your final word, and we're going to go ahead and close out this stream. What you got? Any final words of wisdom for us, or any recommendations, or anything you want to include about your channel returning?
I mean, like so far my time turner, I haven't done anything with it yet. I've just kind of, I mean, I just kind of left it there, but it was just like after a year doing, not having a channel up, I had to create another channel. So yeah, that was like when you see me come in, it was like another channel I had created, but I guess this one maybe I'll probably start getting back to doing some content soon, maybe on this one. If not, I'd probably still do it on the other one. But it was it was great for you, great come back on again, and it was a good conversation. So thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Zero. Maybe check out Zero. He has been around and he's back. So it's a good time for us all to be back. And we're going to be ramping up our cheat sheet on the words that we on censorship around here. Everything from
Yeah,
CC to Z28. We've got the visual cheat sheet that I bring out. And how about that? Let's just, for old time's sake, let's bring out the visual cheat sheet. Check your
Yeah, because I
stats.
remember. Yeah, I think I got a strike because I had said I had mentioned a word, wasn't promoting anything like that, but hmm,
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll keep those visual cheat sheets coming because we're adding the CC. What maybe we'll add some other meetings or some other three letter agencies or whatnot, so that you guys can kind of know, like you guys know. But it's important just for people that are stopping by. It's fun too. It's also fun too. So thank you so much, Zero, and let me just read hi to Marty Lauderdale. Thank you so much for coming in. Let me read a couple comments here. Let me read a couple of comments here. Marty Lauderdale says, I agree with what Melinda said above. Why has the U.S. allowed them to purchase all this land, etc., and a port in California? Absolutely unreal. Our own government has been setting us up for collapse and invasion. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about, we've contracted, we're contracted, and come closer to our enemies, and they've come closer to us. We've imported them, and like I said, it's almost like, is it Club Med down at the border? Are they just like the guardians of the border? Like, you know what I mean? Here's your carry-on kit. You know what I mean? Like, here's your toiletry kit. You see what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
beyond weak. It's
And,
beyond,
and you know, surprise.
it's
Oh,
really insulting. It's really I have no words. Hello, Freedom's March.
and
Come
you
on
know
in.
what the surprising thing about, like how much land and real estate that China actually owns over here, the Chinese,
Yeah, I
is
think if I'm
ridiculous.
not mistaken, that I think they own the Hotel Del in Coronado in San Diego. I really do. I think they own it. Um,
Yeah, because I remember, I think it was either ABC or some mainstream news channel, like they were talking about, like, yeah, they were talking about how many, Chinese people were buying land and real estate. It's like your next door neighbor could be, Chinese. And it's like, hmm.
well, they're sure. I'm,
And
I'm
then,
saying, like, definitely with that 700% increase, you're
yeah,
seeing also, they're saying that's the illegal. They're interchangeably, they're trying to
right,
to to sanitize illegal with migrants, and I
right,
seriously, we're gonna have a problem here.
yeah,
Seriously, even in the armpit towns, you can see where these presences, the presence is there, in the most, like I said, armpit town, the tiniest towns, it's like, yeah, I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming.
yeah.
So yeah, well, I appreciate it so much, Zero, and I'm going to say hi to everybody in the stream. You guys check this out in replay. I'm going to leave this one up. Yes, I will do indeed. Melinda wished everyone an afternoon, everyone. Luciano, I missed this comment, says the train derailment in Ohio is simply a dirty bomb that was detonated. The corrupt media refused to cover it, and the corrupt EPA is telling people that it is safe to go back home. That is a situation that I would like to follow. I have not done it to the extent that I want to, but we need to have a look at that. Independent Men United. Hello. I'll see with Luciano, T96. And we have a lot of people quite that are quite that have interest with the Le Chinois, for lack of a better word. So in our government, so they're not all, to me. They're just playing. They're just gaslighting is what they're doing. They're gaslighting about, I think, a lot of things, because a lot of these people have foreign entanglements with China, including our Congress, and even who knows who else. Okay. Melinda, thank you so much for coming in. Marty Lauderdale and Freedom's March. And Marty says, great to see you back streaming more. Gotta say, you have a real talent for I appreciate it for researching, presenting the info to us, interacting with viewers and guests. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I am trying to bring it back. I'm trying to bring it back with a new face, so to speak, a different space. And yes, and there is a pendulum out there, but I had it out for a little bit. But of course, if somebody else wants to chime on, I just had Zero the Infinite. He's back on. He's had his channel restored, so it's out there. I'll put it out here for another 5 minutes, but I'm really put it out for another 5 minutes or so, and just to see if anybody else has anything to say, to add. Freedom's March is here, so here's to another people's pendulum. And as you guys give this channel, you guys nourish this channel. So without you, it's not the same. Okay, and I will be happy to bring you guys into I'm going to work really hard on the stationary studio is what I'm going to do. So I do have one quick little article. This is a flashback. So if you go in the archives, I'm going to have to create a backup channel. Some of you have voted for I'm going to put a poll out. Should I go Rumble or BitChute? You're returning to BitChute. Okay, BitChute. Should I return? Yeah, so this was an article. Marty Lauderdale says, I can't call in today, but I definitely like to call in one of these days. Very good. Very nice. It says, we've been on the brink of a depression for a long time, so it's not surprising to see if the government is selling us out like they have been doing. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so just really quickly, I just wanted to flash this. I don't want to go into the whole thing again, but I just thought this is called The Good American, and it was written by Prager, I think back during 21. Yeah, January 2021. Now, this is amazing, guys. This was right before the CV-19 hit, so to speak. Okay. Quote, this is from frontpagemag.com. The Good American. In my last column, I described how I have come to better understand the moral problem of the, quote, good German, the term used to describe the average, presumably. Okay, so I thought this was a pretty good article. I want to read it really quick. Okay, so this is from Dennis Prager. Okay, in my last column, I described how I have come to better understand the moral problem of, quote, good German, the good German, the term used to describe the average, presumably decent German, who did nothing to hurt Jews, but also did nothing to help them and did nothing to undermine the Nazi regime. Watching America accept the rationally and morally indefensible physical and economic lockdown of the country, I concluded, quote, apathy in the face of tyranny turns out not to be a German or Russian characteristic. I just never thought it could happen in America. In 1 week, it has gotten worse. Now we're faced with a lockdown on speech, like the likes of which have never been seen in America. And the parallels with Germany are even more stark. The left-wing party, the Democrats, and the left-wing media, the mainstream media are using the mob invasion of the Capitol exactly the way the Nazis used the Reichstag fire. On February 27, 1933, exactly 1 month after the Nazis came to power, the German parliament building, the Reichstag, was set ablaze. The Nazis blamed the fire on their archenemy, the communists, and used the fire to essentially extinguish the Communist Party and its ability to publish, speak, or otherwise spread its message. Using the Reichstag fire as an excuse, the Nazis passed the Enabling Act, a law that gave the Nazi Chancellor Adolf Hitler the power to pass laws by decree without the Reichstag. Now to America, 2021. On January 6th, so this is going into the Capitol situation, which I don't know if have they been successful with making that have they given that any more, I guess, power or whatnot. I thought this was apropos for a couple of reasons. And it was to the point of Zero the Infinite, when he was talking about how I think it's the Good American is a great example of what we see when our neighbors comply with everything. And I think we'll see more Good Americans with when it comes to energy, with the energy fear porn, when it comes to food supply. I'm telling you, like your garden will become they will take part of that as well. They will be the participatory obedience will be high. I really do. And I think those are traits of the Good American. So I only open that up because I think that's the participatory obedient, AKA Good American, will be the people that will help this NWO or this LWO right along. I think that's exactly it's going to expedite things. It's going to make it easier when they're enacting tyranny on, historically, you had people when we read this book by on tyranny, it talked about how, the people participated. They just kind of stood back and watched. They stood back and they watched. And yeah. And they were good Germans, right? For participating. So there we go. All right. So I'm probably going to stop there. Marty Lauderdale. Right now, Zero, I don't have a Rumble. I'm thinking I'm trying to weigh it out right now because even Twitch does not hold on to my content very long. I think I give it 14 days. Was it BitChute? And the other one was maybe Brighteon. I had Brighteon once before. Maybe I'll try that. Let's see. Marty Lauderdale says, I don't have enough experience with the other alt sites, so I can't say which one works best for folks. Rumble or BitChute. So maybe Brighteon. I don't know. If you guys have any other ideas, you, of course, send me a message. I wanted to post links from some things I found yesterday. Unjected. We talked about Unjected yesterday. That was interesting. But we also found some holes in that. So thanks to my friends over on Twitch. Now, I don't know how many viewers that we have over there. Might be nice to find out. Might be nice. I don't know how many are watching over there. But I'd like to keep a little bit more of an eye on it for sure. Hope you guys are doing well. So I'm going to go ahead. Like I said, I will be creating, updating our honorary sponsors, commercials, as well as, of course, our Patreons or whoever we have. Because, it takes a little bit to keep this thing in cycle. And I won't encourage you guys to do anything that you're not comfortable doing. So, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and play a couple commercials and then we're out. Uh-oh. I think I hear the reverb in the back. Let me shut that down. Okay, so do I see some people in the back? Okay, looks like there's some emojis and some things going on. We'll get used to more things happening over on Twitch. Okay. M0 says you can keep content longer by either clipping it or have a subscription, which could be 60 days, but clipping the stream would be better to keep it up there. Hello, Samoan. Thank you so much for coming in. So we're going to go ahead and do a couple of thanks to our friends over on the Twitch, and we're going to get you guys out of here. All right. Finally, we're getting out of here. my friends. Well, I appreciate everyone for coming in. And thank you, Zero, for coming up as our guest. And thank you guys over on Twitch. You guys have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll just keep chomping away and working my way back to the tubes. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Wednesday.